Hello, everybody. This is Victor here from Trend Following Trading for Beginners, and here's my weekly update on my sample trading portfolio coming up next. Hi, everybody. Welcome for another week of my podcast update. Generally in the market this week is relatively very quiet. Nothing much happens. But because I'm a parent and I'm UK based, basically this week is relatively busy for me for my child because she just finished her A level, and I will come to that a bit later on. But overall, the week they basically the biggest things that to talk about is basically gold and silver. I think it was on Tuesday, just collapsed down like it was like gold 2080 or near the 2090 mark, suddenly gone down to like 2010. So $2010 or $2030, and then next couple of days and collapse back down to below 2000 now. So, but it seems to go past the previous height, which is 1920 or 1930 area, was made back in 2011, and then quickly come back up again. So the price of gold at the moment basically just stay back above the 1920 marks. So it's about 1940 or 1950 area. So this is sort of expected because the gold has been moving up quite a long time. For last, I think, 9 weeks increases, and there's quite a lot of movements over there. And I take this at a just temporary correction, so to speak, because I think this high, the previous high 2011, at around your 1910, 1920 area should be quite strong. It should be quite good resistance area. So the support area, sorry, and then it should provide a good move back up for the gold and silver. But we just have to wait and see. Silver also in the same time drop up, quite a lot as well. And we just have to wait and see what happens. Both of them fall a lot. Basically, also on Monday, there was a Twitter tried to gate crash the Microsoft TikTok deal, which is ongoing. They still up until middle of the September before Trump's this executive order to stop TikTok working or operations in US. And then Wednesday. We have obviously Joe Biden have selected the running mate, but for me, basically that is not much going on because Wednesday was I was sort of biting my fingernails, just like my child, my second child. She just basically waiting for A level result, and then Thursday come with the A level. At the same time, gone down a little bit more, but I didn't put any emphasis on it. And basically, the result in basically A-level result in UK has just gone banana, so to speak. Last week it was the Scottish that came out the result, and because of this modernization, whatever the formula they use, the British education system basically calculate students' possible grade for A levels before they go to university based on teacher recommendation, but they also have their own internal formula, and that seems to have gone bananas and the government in Scotland basically gone back U-turn and follow what the teachers predict grade. So this Thursday we were expecting something similar. In UK, something probably drastically wrong, coming out with the marks, A-level marks for A-level students, and yes, and that's exactly what's happening. It was a nail-biting day for my child. She finally got into the university of her choice, but then the grades been drastically marked down by one subject. It stayed the same. The other two subjects basically marked down by one grade down. So she's one of those 35-40% students who have got one or two more of their grades marked down by one. And it's just relatively quite sad because on Thursday it was quite just running around just to make sure she got a place at a university of her choice, and then waiting for emails and her friends. Talking to her friends, and all found them have the similar problems when the marks basically predict the grade is a certain level, and then all the result is actually marked down quite heavily. even with a student that is in her class that has in her year basically is one of the top students that's consistently getting A grade, A star grade, which is above 80-85%, and suddenly marked down to get a B, which is 65, those area, and she was very upset as well. So the government in UK just basically following whatever the Scottish Parliament is doing a U-turn, whatever. But they're going through appeal for the students' marks if they're not as good as predicted. Particularly by the school, and my child is one of them. Definitely the appeal. So expecting to get A economics, but she only get a B, and just rather silly. So I was also expecting to maybe she was aiming for A star, which is 85+%. So something gonna be basically out of whack because even in a mock exam she got A. So this A level result debacle really hurt a lot of students, but that's basically my concentration over the week. But the other thing is, obviously, today, unfortunately, Donald Trump's younger brother died, and send my condolences to him. Unfortunately, people do kick the bucket. He's died 71. But for me, the main thing is obviously my child in the A level. She got her university result. But that also got me thinking, with the pandemic that's actually going on, and around the world, and then with the coronavirus coming back and forth, getting reintroduced back in Hong Kong, so to speak, and around Europe lockdown again, and UK part of the cities also got locked down again. So this coronavirus, in my view, unless we got a vaccine, the virus got running around the world, and I think this year for the students, for overseas students, I don't think they will be very happy, or the parents anyway. They let them travel to whatever country to study. Even me, for myself, I worry for my children. Two of them are gone. Well, one already is in university, another one, I said, my daughter is also going to university this year. I personally feel rather uneasy letting her to go there. She, from her university, she basically been told, just my son as well, they'll be like maybe 1 or 2 days in university campus, face-to-face lessons, the rest will be online, those kind of thing. So I think it'll be similar for people, students around the world. But for me, basically, I think the overseas students will be reluctant, the parents as well, to travel whichever the country they want to. So we go back to, let's say, for example, America. For example, a lot of international students, not just Chinese, but maybe from Europe, might not want to go in to study there, and then university in America maybe go on online for maybe first term or something, to try to help the students along and try to still hopefully they can come in. But with the spat between US and China, Chinese students do very love to go to UK, both UK and US, meaning to US. And obviously the problem with the US, a lot of students are reluctant to go, plus the fact that coronavirus. It's a similar situation in UK as well. And I live in Bath in UK, and it's one of the tourist town. And even on Saturday and Sunday, supposed to be lots of tourists running around. It's relatively quiet. I used to see before the lockdown, lots of Chinese walking around. But unfortunately now it's like, not even students have been returning yet that has been studying here, let alone any tourists, Chinese tourists from other area or even in Europe. So the town is relatively quiet, even for a major tourist attraction in town. We got the Roman Bath here. A lot of people go from around the world, from America as well, to come to Bath. But to me, compared to normal days, it's summertime. To me, it's more like a dead zone. Hardly any people walking around. It's more like just local people walking there. It's still busy, but it's not as busy as before. And also the other thing been shown quite drastically is the amount of the tour bus. I mean, probably similar to London, if you go to Trafalgar Square and stuff, be full of tour bus running around. For us here in Bath as well, we got tour bus running on every 10 20 minutes. But nowadays, there used to be chock-a-block in town, but nowadays only a couple of them running around. Not many people actually jump on board as well. It's quite empty. And the other thing is, I just saw a student bus. Basically, the University of Bath here wants work together with the local bus company, basically run buses to go to the university. And this one basically just gone like 6 o'clock in the early evening, and it's totally empty. Normally 6 o'clock, students go to town and coming back to town, and it's quite busy for a bus. But there's two buses just gone past me without anybody in it, and it's just quite scary. I know it's what you call summertime, but there's still supposed to be quite a lot of postgraduate students supposed to be in there, but obviously they have all gone home, and not many new students are coming in. And this also affects the fact that people like myself as well, who rent out properties to students for the university, and is having a bit of hard time finding students. A lot more rooms and houses available, but many students are not actually back from overseas yet, especially from Asia. It's causing quite a bit of issue for a lot of landlords, as far as I know here. And if you reflect that back to perhaps back down to US or Europe, around the world, a lot of the local students probably still go to university and take up some of the spaces, but for a lot of the big universities, especially, they use a lot of they hope to attract a lot of international students, but unfortunately, because the virus that's been running around, is kind of difficult for university to basically sign up the students or even get a student coming in. So the overseas students, the number of overseas students probably get quite low this year, at least for the first couple of terms until we got a vaccine, and that have a knock-on effect of local economy where this university town is, and also to accommodation and myself, to renting out to those students. Those kind of houses will be quite empty around as well. So it's quite a lot of knockdown, side effects everywhere, and I think it's going to be bad for the UK students, overseas students market, as well as the of the American, as well as for Europe as well, because a lot of them just will not travel to UK. Out of the rest of the Europe, UK's got one of the highest amount of coronavirus death, and US is definitely one of them as well. And people in Asia definitely is worrying. I've been tracking the news in Hong Kong as people talking about students going to schools, where do they go as well, that kind of thing. So it's quite a challenging times for the students' economy, so university students, for the accommodations, or even for the local economy, where the student towns is, which rely a lot on, like I said, like Bath, tourism as well as in students, and just got to have a knock-on effect. I just hope we can all sail through this bad time. I've gone through similar things before in '97, but just had to wait and see how it's like this year. I think this year probably much worse, because until the coronavirus vaccine is available, me myself, even being a parent, I won't be very happy for my child to running around or even go to Europe. My child currently planning to go to France for Christmas. Now I'm very reluctant to let her go with her friends, but it's still another 3-4 months to go yet. We just have to wait and see how it goes. But if the virus still running quite badly in France, I might have to stop her as well. So similar thing for other parents, they probably have similar view, and that's going to affect a lot of things, a lot of international travel, a lot of tourism, bars, or tourist attraction areas could suffer a lot. So if we reflect that back to the economy, that on that side of thing, and then reflect back to the stock market, we see the stock market basically is doing one thing, and then the economy is totally doing different things. Now people say the stock market sort of have a more further look foresight, 6 months or 12 months down the line. I think the stock market is assuming there's a good chance of a vaccine that's available very quickly. and then basically the economy will slowly just pick it back up again. But I think it might not be as quick a bounce back in the economy as it was hoping to happen. But we just have to wait and see. Just my view. But one thing I definitely for certain, gold have gone down a bit, but I think gold still got legs. I have already said it because first show, just a quick heads up, so to speak, to say gold is gonna coming move. I think next year is even worse. It'll be much higher than just 2,800 mark. Probably well above, as far as my calculations correct. It's well above 21,000, 2,100. So 2,100, 2,200 shouldn't be much of a problem. Maybe early next year, maybe even end of this year. Who knows? With the gold sort of goes through the roof, well above what I was expecting. I was expecting initially maybe 20-25% increase this year, maybe even as low as 10%, but it's gone 35%, so much higher than what I'm expecting. And next year, who knows what happens next year? We just have to wait and see. Anyway, this is just my update for the week, and the next is my portfolio update coming up next. Okay, first is Apple. It's basically buy across the board. Short term, medium term, long term is all buy. So it's not much, no change since last week. Amazon is again similar to Apple, basically same as Apple. It's buy across the board. So short, medium term, long term also buy. Next is USD, Australian dollar against USD. Basically it's still across the board. It's about, even though the US dollar index recover a little bit, but it's sort of like having problem go above 93, 50. It's just not moving much, and then basically US dollar against Australian dollar is just not going anywhere. It's around the 71 mark, upon 70.71 mark. So we just have to continue to watch it. Crude oil is buy short term and buy medium term, and neutral for long term. US crude, WTI, short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is neutral. So not much change here, same as just the last month or two. It just slowly, crude oil just slowly move up very slowly. And we just have to wait and see. But there's a big line here for both Brent crude and crude oil. US crude, there's 20-day moving average, and it just hovering right on top. And then I think that this, unless we have a major issue with Brent crude, like the economy really go lockdown again or something big, I think the oil basically in general just slowly recovering. It probably takes some time, but it will definitely go. I personally believe it will test the 200-day moving average. First couple of times probably won't break it, but then slowly will break it. So we just have to wait and see how it goes and continue tracking. Next is DAX. Short term has changed from a sell last week to a buy now. Short term, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. So DAX have basically moved up quite a bit. I think it's followed Dow Jones a Q from last week, and basically from a sell to a buy now. Next is Dow Jones. For this week, just continue last week, just slowly moving up. It's a buy for short term. Medium term is also buy, and long term is a buy now. So my last week, basically, I was saying the price of Dow Jones index, basically basically the price action is touching the 200 moving average, and been there a couple of times, and it's like have the 200-day moving average acting like a floor, that kind of thing. But it bounced off a couple of times, and it should go up, and it has been doing that, slowly moving up this week. So it's very similar to what the S&P 500 as well as Nasdaq have done previously, and now it's basically Dow Jones is doing that. So watch this space, probably still got some legs to get, some more movement to go for Dow Jones. Next is FTSE from UK. Short term has changed from a sell to a buy. Medium term is neutral. Long term is a sell at the moment. Next is gold. Obviously, like I say, short term has been changed to sell. Medium and long term still good, still buy. So I personally feel, like I said before, 1900, 1920, that area that has been, the height achieved back in 2011. It's been taken out, but I think this will probably provide quite short-term support for now. But I think there's gold and silver definitely got legs to go. Just wait and see what the market do. Next is Hong Kong Hang Seng Index. Short term is still a sell from last week. Medium term is neutral. Long term this week I also changed to neutral as well. So basically, not much happening over there. Hong Kong still struggling with coronavirus, as well as the student demonstrations, the security law, and China is not helping either. They're having the dam sort of river issue, and some of the dam is busting. Close to busting because the water level is too high. It's been raining quite a lot in part of China, so there's a lot of worries over there. Next is Nasdaq in US. This continued to buy across the board, and this one is a leading indicator. I personally believe Nasdaq, the technology group of shares, just continue just going up and up and up, and it's sort of stalling at the moment. We're having a bit of issue with 11,000 marks, but it seems to have gone back up there now, so we just have to wait and see. Next is Nikkei. Nikkei is short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. One observation with Nikkei is there's a downward trend line that just been broken. It's broken through this week, and and I think personally this one got a bit of legs as well. Now we just have to wait and see how much it break above it. We just let the market now tell us, but it definitely, for me anyway, Nikkei is positive at the moment. So I would say go and buy it. Next is silver, similar to gold. Short term is becoming a sell, but long term is the medium term is also still a buy. So we just have to wait and see. I personally believe both silver and gold still got legs to go, so we just have to watch and have a look. Next is US dollar against Chinese yuan. Is basically sell continue like last week. Short term, medium term, and long term is still a sell. That basically means the US dollars compared to Chinese yuan, basically the Chinese yuan is getting stronger and stronger compared to US dollars. Next is US dollar against Japanese yen. Short term is a buy, medium term and long term is a sell. So no change from last week here. The US dollar against Japanese yen. Basically, the Japanese yen is weakening a little bit against the US dollar, and we just have to wait and see how it goes. Next is British pounds against Japanese yen, and also British pound against US dollars. For both of them, they are all buys for short term, medium term, long terms is a buy. So yes, the US dollar index is definitely, the lowering of it going down to 93 from about 97 definitely impact the British pound, and but it's tried to go up to one pound 31. 1.31 area, but seems to stuck there, not able to go 1.32. So we just have to wait and see how it goes. But we in Britain we have obviously coronavirus issue. The economy is definitely not doing that well, and Brexit's coming over, and who knows what's going to happen next. But because of the US dollars, the index is weakening, coming down. So basically, British pound is just like a lot of other major currencies, gone up against US dollar. Next is Bitcoin, cross the board buy signal. So short term, medium term is a buy, but still having issue here with Bitcoin having problem breaking above the 12,000 mark. It have broken through from the 9,600 areas, and if you have been listening to my podcast, probably have gone in and bought some, but it's still this ceiling, 12,000, just having issue here, not able to stay above it. Just it attempted a couple of times, but it's not doing well. And so just basically doing a sideline trade at the moment. Next is the iShare 20 plus TLT ETF. Basically, this one tracked the bond, the US bond, the long dated British US bond, and basically short term is a sell now, medium term, long term is also neutral. So it sort of show up in a sense that this is the inverse of the US major indices. So when the bonds go basically going to sell mode, that is the yield is higher, because the prices got lower, and then basically the money going into the main stock market. So the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 all gone up recently, even though it's been quite a prolonged bull market over there. But the other thing is, you look at the bond, the yield is not that great either. Even though yes, the price weakening a bit, the yield might have gone up a bit, but it's still very very low. So basically, people just putting money in the bank is not going to give them much money. So people in around the world, not just US or UK, just putting on other things. So stock market or properties, that's what seems to be doing. Next, last but not least, is Tesla. Short term is a buy, medium term, long term is a buy. So basically, from last week, a sell, short-term sales, a change to buy this week. Overall, is basically after the announcement 1-to-5 split, I think. Basically for Tesla, is the share price continue to do well. Basically, but I personally feel this parabolic move after the 1-to-5 break. We just have to see how it goes. But basically, the chart basically shows it's going sideways. But as far as I'm concerned, the trend following is just saying go buy. So I just basically follow trend following. Irrespective of my field is, I personally feel Tesla is a great company, but it's definitely far too high for me at the moment. But who cares? As far as trend following concerned, my personal feeling and thinking, even my research means nothing. Same as gold. I have my certain research, and I got surprised. I mean, the gold is moving in the right direction as I expected, but I didn't expect it to go up like 35% this year. They haven't finished yet, still August, 3 months to go. Now we just have a major correction, so to speak, come down like almost $200 for the in terms of gold, but it's stable at the moment because around the world, there's a lot of problems with obviously the U.S. currencies, the coronavirus, the trade war, and now especially I think on Friday or Thursday, U.S. has basically said it has stopped 4 ships that's selling Iranian crude oil as traveling to Venezuela. I'm not sure it's actually capture or basically what, but basically the noises what we hear from BBC News is the US have basically scared, or from Hong Kong News as well, scare those owners of those ships and basically not make them not to deliver it, and then send it to go to American water and go to basically park over there rather than send the shipment from Iran and go to Venezuela. But as far as I'm concerned, this is it's the type of things that we see in uncertainty around the world, and then basically gold sort of gone up in the corners of that. We just have to wait and see. But one thing also spotted for gold as well, it has been quite sleepy lately, and then suddenly gone up, and now suddenly a big major volatile, down 200 on like a Wednesday, Thursday kind of area, or Tuesday, last Tuesday. So there's quite a lot more volatility going along around in gold. We just haven't been seen yet. So we just have to wait and see. Last time when it sort of happens back in 2010, 2011, gold can go up 100 a day, and then some news coming in, gone down 100 and go recover, and then come back up 80 on the same days. Really wild trade. So it's just very similar to what happened in 2010 as far as I'm concerned, or 2011. So we just have to wait and see how things go. And we just had to track it, and using trend following, I think that's the best way as far as I'm concerned, because like I said before, no matter what I think, whatever my analysis say, if I follow the formula, I take away all the emotion. I'm not saying that I become emotionless when I'm trading, but because I've got a formula, basically this trend following system, basically I would just follow that system rather than use what I think, because what I think is only one participant in the market of a ball of people, millions of people in different countries, also all buying, selling gold or Tesla or Dow Jones or whatever, and one person's opinion probably means nothing. A lot of time what I guess I think it doesn't really matter. That's why I like trend following system. Just take away all this guessing game. Even my analysis, I like to do analysis, but it sort of just show basically which one I should watch, shares, index, or forex. But it's let the market tell me when to get in and when to get out. And as far as I'm concerned, gold is still a medium long term buy. There's some short term volatility there, but my short term system basically says sell, and so my short term portfolio account for the short term is basically gone reverse and selling it. But my medium and long term trading account is still long on gold. We just have to wait and see how things goes. So that's my update this week, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye for now.